Welcome to Real Wisdom, where we dive into the real stories of remarkable women. Today I'm so excited to introduce Cass McCrory, a business and marketing strategist, author, and the host of the Best Next Step with Cass McCrory podcast. Cass's mission is to help us get unstuck and get focused so that we can move forward with clear intentions. And if you want to hear more stories like this, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Welcome, Cass. I'm really excited about this conversation this morning. So I wanted to start with the Subtraction Project because it's a big deal. I really love the idea behind this. It's about doing more with less, which isn't usually what we're told to do or what is presented to us. Can you tell us what was going on in your life where you thought that having less stuff and less stress could actually lead to more happiness?
It was honestly a rough time in my life. I had a newborn daughter. She was less than a year old. My now ex-husband and I were going through a really difficult spot. And I thought what I needed was new throw pillows. Honestly, I thought I was just new throw pillows away from feeling like everything could be okay. I got back from Target, because where else does one go to get new throw pillows, 15 years ago? And I realized I wasn't any happier and that it wasn't actually, nothing was getting better by adding on top. You know what? Feeling overwhelmed is not going to stop as long as I keep adding more and more to my plate. Physical stuff, other things, expectations of myself. And so I decided, all right, I'm going to start to do less. And so literally later that day, I was like, I'm going to start removing what doesn't work in my life because clearly what I've been doing, which was, going to Target, was not working anymore. Trying to bring order through more stuff was not getting the job done. And so I literally texted my grandparents, my mom, a handful of cousins. And I was like, I'm going to do this. Do you want to do this with me? And they're like, sure. And the next day I said, today we're doing socks. And everybody was like, awesome, let's do it. And we all subtracted socks. And I felt, number one, I felt not alone.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt really well supported. And I felt like I was finally doing something that actually did bring me ease. And since then, it's grown. And at one point, we had 10,000 people doing subtraction projects. And then the world changed a lot. I changed a lot. And I was like, I don't know that I want to do this anymore. Tore it down to the ground, basically. And then in March, I was like, I think I want to do this again. Let's do it. And literally this is February 1st. I decided that I wanted to do this again in March for the whole month of March. And this time there's 5,000 people participating. So it's really exciting.
As this has grown, what has it meant to you that you see so many people wanting to participate?
It feels like an invitation. And every single time I've done it, I've wanted to do it alongside everyone. I think that's been key. I'm not coming from a spot of I'm a minimalist. I have everything together. I'm writing in pencil right alongside everybody. When we did the Subtraction Project earlier this week on 10 random things, I had more than 10 random things that needed to get subtracted. And it's felt really nice to be in community and also doing work that I feel really equipped to do because I know the impact it makes. And it's not one and done. I think this is the thing that a lot of people can really get themselves tripped up in, is that they think, I just need to get organized. As if organized was a state of being that was forever, you would now be organized. That's just insane. We have to do things repeatedly. Getting organized is like doing the laundry.
Right. You're going to need to do that more than once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when we approach things with this idea that, we're just going to do this one time, and then everything will be fine, we're really setting ourselves up for disappointment and a feeling of failure that we don't need to feel.
Before we dive a little bit further into your story, I'd like to do a quick round of this or that to get to know you a little bit better.
Sure.
Are you up for it?
I'm up. Let's do it.
Theme parks or backyard camping?
Theme park?
Family board games or outdoor sports?
Board games.
Tailgate party or a cozy game night at home?
Game night.
Buffalo wings or veggie platter?
Both. I mean, geez.
You need variety?
You have to have both. You can't have a spicy wing and not have some celery. These are friends. We can't pull our friends apart like that.
Are we including ranch dressing on the platter?
No. Western New York, baby. That's blue cheese.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, one more thing. Story time at the library or browsing your local bookstore?
Ooh, story time at the library.
Is that a family activity that you like to spend time together doing?
It's been really lovely. So I have a 15-year-old, a 9-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 5-year-old. And so we're just entering the season where everybody has some reading skills of their own, independent. But I still get to read bedtime stories, which is one of my favorite times of day because we get to go on an adventure together. I love that so much. Yeah.
Okay, I've watched your TED Talk, and I was really inspired by it. And I think so many of us can relate to it because we always hear we need a plan. And there are so many women in our community and in midlife who feel that constant pressure of, I need a plan. That's how this works. If I just had a plan, everything would be okay. And you mentioned a very specific place in that plan, which is where I thought I'd be. But there are two problems with that. Is it okay if I read a quote to you?
Please, yeah.
You said it has two fundamental challenges, though. One, you're not there. And two, that place isn't even real. Can you tell us what can we do to overcome that challenge?
Well, first, acknowledging that there's a difference between where I thought I'd be and where you are in this moment. There's a difference. And it might be you are way ahead of where you thought you'd be. And it might be that you're not quite where you thought you'd be. And the first thing that we have to do is acknowledge that there's a difference. And acknowledge that the only place that we can make progress from is where we actually are. And in my head, whenever I think about this, I imagine somebody's head way out in front of their skis, kind of like Looney Tune style, you know, the classic cartoons, right? And so like you would see Wile E. Coyote on a set of skis and his head would be 100 feet ahead of the skis. And this does not yield great results for him because you go head over feet and you roll and like this is not good. When we are trying to think and operate and act like we are where we thought we'd be, we are getting ahead of our skis. And we can't move from there. And so as long as our brain and our thinking is there, we can't make any progress because literally there's no step available to us in front of that imaginary location. And the only place that happens from is here, like where we actually are.
For me personally, though, sometimes when you feel yourself in that space, there's often that little bit of disappointment, like I would have done this or I would have done that. But also I haven't taken those steps to get to that place. And it's not going to happen by magic. Right. I don't know, Cass. That's why I think here today.
Hallie, I think this is the reflection part of intention setting that I love unlocking with women because you might have said, all right, I want to be more established in my professional career by now. Mm-hmm. And the reflection question to ask is, okay, if I'm not where I thought I would be, what has been in my way? And typically we can look back and we can be like, oh, well, I had 4 children, or I was a caregiver to somebody else, or I actually let somebody else's priorities rule over what I actually wanted to do, or I was tired. We can identify the things that we've had to overcome to just get to where we are. we have to hold the space for that hard conversation of why, and also acknowledge something. Everything in your life thus far has probably happened in perfect timing.
Yeah, it's hard at times though when you're in the midst of it to see all that because, you said something about being tired. And I think that really can resonate with a lot of women, especially like you said, you're busy. You're running a household, you have a career, you might be taking care of somebody. And saving that space isn't always an easy thing to do.
No, it isn't. And a lot of the women that I'm talking to right now, they're not just tired. They are tired. They actually do need more sleep. They need rest. They're also drained. And that's different than tired, because tired just needs sleep to recuperate. But if you are drained, you actually need to do energy-giving things. And sleep isn't energy-giving. It's physically restorative, yes. But it isn't going to recharge you. Like, that's not sleep's job. Like, the recharge is actually way more intentionally done. Intentionally done saying, I'm going to do the things that actually make me feel good so that I can be recharged.
Is there something that you like to do that recharges you?
Oh, yeah. I do it every single day. And I do many things every single day that recharge me. I have a gratitude practice. I know everybody has a gratitude practice, or they like to think that they have a gratitude practice. It's so annoying because it's so effective. And yet we just sometimes avoid it. My gratitude practice is huge. I read, I work out, I go for a couple of laps around the house. I play with plants. Sometimes I kill them. Sometimes I propagate them. I do lots of things with plants. I love photography. So anytime I can get out my big camera, my DSLR camera, that's great. Otherwise, I'm going to open up my phone camera and I'm going to do things. I love to shop on Pinterest. So I get that feeling, that rush of like, I've picked out lots of wonderful things. I just shop on Pinterest. I don't actually add to cart. So I'm not inundated with all of those store emails. I love to read. I love to write. I like to watercolor. And I think the thing that a lot of people will hear when they, or think when they hear that, is some variation of must be nice. Like, wow, she must have somebody else that's paying the bills. She doesn't have everything that I have on my plate, like all of these things. And I understand, because I've had that must be nice feeling towards other people. And here's my invitation for you. You want something that I just said, and you have the opportunity to integrate it into your life. I'm not special. I'm not special. I'm just prioritizing it. And I'm saying my recharge is actually going to help me do more and not less. There are days that I'm spending 3.5 hours recharging, 100%. Tomorrow, I have like a whole day that is just going to be recharged. Tomorrow is Saturday. I'm going to start the day early because I love to not have any plans ahead. Like, that'll be easy for me to wake up early. I'm going to work out. I'm going to bring some order. That feels recharging to me. I'm going to spend some time with my kids. I'm going to invite them to do art. We're going to make a leprechaun trap. We're going to make some cupcakes. Like, there's the whole day ahead is going to be recharge. I can look at Monday and be like, wow, that is going to be an absolute show. Like, it is. I know it. I'm looking at my calendar. My eyes are open. There is not going to be a lot of recharge on Monday. So I've got to come into that week like 100% battery.
Yes. All your bars have to be at the highest level.
Yes. Like, charge all your devices.
I've read a lot of your posts, and I believe that at one point in time you had talked about being an introvert.
Oh, yeah.
And
big time introvert.
I'm an introvert. I know that for a fact. What types of challenges have you faced, and how has it changed the way you communicate? Because a lot of what you do in your life is about communicating and coaching and guiding and leading. How has that changed for you because you recognize that part of yourself?
Oh, I've given myself buffer. That's the biggest thing. Like, recognizing that I'm an introvert and that I need to recharge means that, and I need to recharge alone. Like, not alone with my family, like alone. Like, I want to be alone when I'm doing things. And so I can't even stress that. I cannot stress how alone I want to be sometimes. And I've built buffer into my life so that that can happen. So like we had this call scheduled. We scheduled it a little bit earlier in the week. I didn't offer up times where I'd be in back-to-back meetings. I know that doesn't work for me. I blocked off the hour and a half before this call and the 45 minutes after this call. And so the hour and a half before, I did some writing, I did some thinking, I watched an episode of Madam Secretary because it's so fantastic, and I forgot I love that show so much. And it's on Netflix now. 10 stars. Highly recommend.
Yes. Oh, I've watched every episode. I love that show.
I want Elizabeth McCord's wardrobe. I'd also like to be her size. Lots of things in this show and I'd love to be married to Tim Daly. Like, oh my gosh. He tweeted to me once. I still have the screenshot. It was a peak moment in my life. Yes. So like I did all of these things that were alone and aligning for me personally because I knew I was going to want to show up to this and be at my best. And that couldn't happen if I accepted the 8:30 and the 9 o'clock meeting that came in on my calendar. I couldn't accept that and still bring the energy that I wanted to bring to this. So I think the biggest thing is that I build in buffer. And if I can't build in buffer, if I don't have as much agency over my calendar, which sometimes I don't, sometimes a client has a fire, I'm an entrepreneur, and I have a team. If I can't build in buffer, then I will make sure that I write an IOU to myself that I will honor.
I mean, life is life. There isn't always that opportunity where we could give ourselves that additional time. But knowing that you're going to owe it to yourself that is a really good idea.
And we can't lie to ourselves because our body will know. Our brain will know. Our spirit will know. Like, I can't say, I'm going to give you a little bit of extra time this weekend, Cass, because, boy, you had to extrovert a lot this week. And so I'm going to give you that time. And then that time comes and you're like, no, you need to clean the bathrooms. Like, this needs to happen more than you get what you needed. If I offer that up to myself and then I don't honor it, I've lost trust with myself again. I can't afford to do that.
That's a really great idea. I'm going to make an IOU. I think I need several of those this weekend.
Yeah. I mean, and if you're not giving it to yourself and if you don't ask for it, you won't get it. You won't.
I'm going to switch it up a little bit and throw something at you. Because I was doing a little bit of a deep dive into some of your social media, and I think I've uncovered something about you. You're a Buffalo Bills fan.
Big time. Yeah. Go Bills.
Well, yeah, I live in Chicago, and big Chicago Bears fan. We're still clinging to the fact that we won the Super Bowl in '85, and I know that the Buffalo Bills have come close to that in recent years, but yeah, haven't quite closed the deal. But I think it's really kind of cool that you stick with them, that you're loyal. And what do you think that could tell us about not giving up?
First thing, I have no skin in the game, right? Buffalo Bills win, they lose. My Monday is going to be the same, right? And so I get to be on the ride of their success. I am just a voyeur into it. It's not my victory, but
True.
I can be a part of it by celebrating. And the intentionality of saying, I'm going to choose to be present with what's good in this situation and to not be on the ride when it's terrible, which it's been a lot, right? So I think that one lesson that this being a Bills fan has taught me is resilience in saying like, hey, you can still really like something and not like the outcome. You can like the journey and not the outcome. That's cool. And what is mine and what is somebody else's?
And maybe it's that anticipation of these things coming into your life and you don't know when they're going to happen.
I look at all of the good things that have happened in my life. And if somebody had told me even a year before they happened that it was going to happen, I would have been like, shut up. No way. I never would have, we don't have that kind of vision. We just don't. That's cool. Yeah, I like anticipatory joy. That's something that I really lean into. If I've got something that I can look forward to, that anticipatory joy, it's why Thursday is my favorite day of the week. It's like I have all of the anticipation of all of the good things that are going to happen for the weekend ahead, but I haven't actually had to do anything yet. Like that is the best. That's the best. It's just all of this anticipatory joy that's happened. And then if I'm lucky and thoughtful, I can also have it on the other side. I can be just abundantly grateful on the other side of it.
I do think gratitude needs to be a big part of our lives. And you're right. I know I personally don't do that every day, practice gratitude, but on the days that I do, it makes my attitude. It really does.
And it's so annoying, isn't it? Because we know that this will be the thing that helps, and then we just sometimes just don't want to do it. I know. I hear you.
We fight against it all the time, and it's probably one of the simplest things I could do in my day. But that's probably another talk for another day, right? Your story is all about taking bold steps. And from starting your own company to the Subtraction Project, your path has been unique. And in your TED Talk, you mentioned an incident with a car and the wheel falling off.
Yeah.
As maybe a metaphor for like an unexpected turn in your life. Have you had any other moments like that where you learned something unexpected from that point in your life?
Holly, I mean, this week I've had multiple wheels coming off moments. Like literally, I get an email from the school that lets me know that there's lice in the classroom and the wheels have fallen off again. Everybody has these wheels falling off moments. And are you going to be somebody that looks at this and says, of course this would happen. This is hilarious. Wow. You've got something to learn from this. Or are you going to be somebody that is like, everything bad happens to me. This is terrible. I'm never going to recover. I mean, I was traveling with my kids and I booked the minivan rental in Miami, and we get to, if you've ever been to Miami airport, you'll relate to this. It is like a marathon to get from your gate to the car rental place. It's inhumane what they do to you to get to this car rental place. And we get to the car rental place, and the car rental place that I rented the car from is not shown in the listing of the car rentals. And fun fact, Expedia lists car rental places that are within 2 miles of the airport as airport-based.
Oh. Okay, well, good to know. We're going to have to note that somewhere.
Note that. Just you've had this warning in your life now. And so we have to get a taxi from the car rental place to the car rental location that we actually rented the car from, which was 1.5 miles away. That was $35. And this is my family of 6 traveling with a suitcase and a backpack for everybody, hopping into a minivan that's a taxi. All of these things are happening, and it's happening, and I'm like, one part of me is I want to cry. The other part of me is I'm safe and we're going to be okay. And I'm really glad I ate that protein bar. Like, we all have wheels coming off moments. We all do. And are you going to look at this and be like, oh, that's my wheel floating by in the field, and observe it for what it is and be like, all right, here I am. I'm going to have to get myself out of this particular spot. Or are you going to be like, this never should have happened to me. I'm going to just not deal with the reality of what is.
Right. But in this instance, you weren't by yourself. You had to take action because you have to get all these little people to a hotel, get on with your vacation. I think maybe family moments are a good learning experience because you don't have time to sit and wallow in whatever it is that you're feeling. Action has to take place immediately.
Yeah. I said this in the TED Talk. The good thing about the wheels actually coming off is that it's visible. Other people can see that you're having a hard time. They can help you. You're physically stuck. You can't stay stuck there. But there's a lot of ways that we have wheels coming off moments that are more interior that nobody knows that it's happening. And those are a lot harder to navigate. Those are like quicksand.
Yes, that's part of the problem is that nobody could see that.
Yeah.
But you're inside are dealing with that.
100%. I'm trying to think if I have, I mean, I'm just going to get really real. Is that okay, Holly?
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Yes, let's get real.
Wait. Since I've had 4 children, I have not lost all of the weight. It hasn't happened. And there are moments where it feels like the wheels are coming off with that. Like I shouldn't put myself out there for an opportunity because maybe I won't physically feel very confident doing it. Or who would take advice from me? Like I'll get into my head on that side. And that's like an interior wheels falling off the car moment where I want to stay stuck exactly where I am and not go because of lots of reasons. But like it all boils down to the fact of, am I going to be judged? Am I judging myself? Can I be confident with who I am in this moment? And there are days where it's like, no, I'm not gonna take a step forward. I'm not gonna take a best next step. This feels really overwhelming to me. And then there are days that I'm like, who cares? Like my body is doing all of the things that I need it to do in this moment. I'm not gonna let some preconceived wrong notion of what size I'm supposed to be in my own brain stop me from being of service in this world. They're both wheels coming off moments, and it's me deciding like, whoa, am I going to put the wheel back on and keep going, or am I just going to stay stuck there?
You know, I really appreciate you saying that, and I'm not going to get all gooey, but that really hit home. I think the way that you feel you want to present yourself to the world doesn't meet with either your expectations or what people think you're going to be when you show up. And thank you for saying that, because that's just such an honest moment and something that I think so many of us could relate to.
I mean, I've never shown up and heard a woman or a man, but a woman contributing how she adds value to the world and thought, gosh, that would be better if she were a size 6. I've never thought that. Not once. Not once. And so why am I going to be unkind to myself wherever I am and say, you don't get to talk. You don't get to show up until you're different. Like, no.
No, because so much is going to be missed. So much is going to be lost just because you had this idea that, like you said, you should be a size 6. That's not going to change the world. But you being there in that moment and you showing up for somebody else might change.
It might.
Things for someone.
Mm-hmm. It might. If we can do something that makes somebody's life even incrementally better in this moment, that's valuable. And to hold ourselves back for that for any reason, it's not for us.
I'm sure that through the Subtraction Project, you've uncovered a lot of interesting things in your practice of subtraction and living intentionally. What's an unexpected wisdom you might have uncovered?
I can get what I need when I need it. I can get what I need when I need it. And I don't need to be a pack mule and prepared for every situation of my life to feel safe.
That kind of comes back to the whole plan, feeling that you need that.
Yeah.
You're saying you already feel that you have everything in a given moment to get you through it.
Yeah. And if I need something, I will be able to get it. I've had a ton of experience personally, which is, I think, one of the more joyful parts about getting older is I know that even if the wheels fall off, I'll be okay. Just about anything could happen in my life, short of losing a member of my family, could happen. And I'd be like, all right, I'll be okay. I can figure this out. I had seen something on Instagram the other day. The person was like, I was born with the I will figure it out gene, which means that I will take on things that I probably have absolutely no business taking on because I am pretty sure that no matter what, I'd be able to figure it out. That is 100% true. I think that that is not just a gene, though. I don't think that that's something that you're born with or you're not born with. I think it's something that you learn to trust in yourself. And like, you have to face adversity. You have to face things to be like, I'll figure it out. I mean, here's small ways that we can demonstrate this to ourselves is to say, I'm going to make dinner just with what we have in the house. It would be amazing if I could go to the grocery store and buy all the ingredients that I want for a very particular meal. But I'm going to play a little Top Chef in my own house and see what I can pull off. You'll figure it out. Even if it's ramen, right? Even if it's butter and pasta and a little paprika, it's going to be okay. You'll figure it out. Everybody's going to be fine. And, you know, to be in that, honestly, from a worldview standpoint, an incredibly privileged place of saying, I actually do have everything that I need. I will be able to figure it out. I am well resourced, both internally and externally, from my own doing and then also from generational support that has gotten me to this place, right? To not lean in and honor that privilege by living up to my full potential is disrespectful.
I've never really thought of it that way before. There have been people in my life that have come before me, have opened doors or given me opportunities that a lot of people only wish that they could have. It's more than just paying it forward. It's giving honor to those that made that space for you.
Yes. And a lot of people made space. A lot of people have made space for me.
Well, with that in mind, we're coming to the end of our talk here. I'd love to know what Cass has going on in her life right now. What are you passionate about? What is something that you would like everyone to know we need to pay attention to?
Oh, gosh. Do what fills you up. Do what fills you up. And if you don't know what it is, identify what it isn't. Because almost always we have a negative bias. It's part of what keeps women safe, is like we can spot what's not right. And so identify what isn't. And then play a little game of the opposite game with yourself. And then try doing the opposite on a handful of the things that you don't want. And see if you can't just stumble into recharging yourself a little bit. Because, operating in the yellow or the red zone of our personal battery life isn't where we can thrive. And you deserve to thrive.
If we want to find out more about Cass and the projects that you're working on, where would you like the community to go?
So you can go to Cass McCrory, MCCRORY.com, and everything is there. Subtraction Project sign up, values workshops, all kinds of stuff is there. I like to play on Instagram, and you'll see a little bit of like my whole life there because I find it really exhausting to have multiple Instagram handles. I think that is a trap. So you will see everything from me making a cake for my grandma's birthday to here's best next step action taking stuff. And then if you're more on the professional side and you're like, okay, I don't really want to see your hummingbird cake, follow me on LinkedIn because I tend to keep it mostly professional there. I don't play on Facebook anymore because it feels toxic, and I'm not on Threads because that's not real. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, then just to follow that up, I hope on Instagram you are going to share the leprechaun trap because I kind of...
Oh, I will for sure. Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I'll even share a work in progress because we were working on it a little bit last night, and it has taken over a dining room table that is currently the size to fit 12 people. I am not sure exactly how this leprechaun is going to get out, frankly. I'm worried for the leprechaun this year. For the first time ever, I'm worried for the leprechaun.
This might not be his year.
It might not be it. We might actually catch ourselves a leprechaun. I think it could happen. It's a very in-depth trap.
I'll keep my fingers crossed on that, and I'll check back on Instagram to see if the poor guy gets out. But let me just say thank you. This has just been really wonderful morning, and I'm so glad that
Holly,
I'm
I'm
going
so
to be
glad.
able to share this with others. And you just have really a great story. Thank you, Cass. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us on Real Wisdom. If you're inspired by stories like this and want to be part of a community that celebrates the wisdom of women, visit joinempart.com and become a part of our conversation. And don't forget to subscribe here for even more real wisdom. Until next time, keep embracing your story.